who can tell me what the acronym DEI means.
Do it yourself? DEI, no. Division?
Diverse, equality.
Improvement?
No, it's something.
Industry?
No. Diverse,
okay.
equality, and
Economics? Diverse economics?
no, diverse, equality.
Inequality?
Some of the I.
Income? I mean,
No.
just tell us.
In order for government to be of the people, by the people, and for the people, the politics has to get closer to the people. I'm John McCann, and this is the Closer to the People podcast, a production of North Carolina Black Alliance. And I jumped in my vehicle and got on US 64 East and kept going until I got to Manteo, North Carolina, which is Dare County. That's eastern North Carolina, way east, down by the water, on the coast. Population, 38,000 folks, where 87% of them are white. 2.8% black. So you see that disparity. Voters down here tend to lean toward conservative candidates. So despite political challenges, Republican gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson still carried the most votes in last year's general election because most folks in Dare County just couldn't get with Democrat Josh Stein, who won the race and is the state's top elected official. He's charged with working with a General Assembly that introduced Senate Bill 227. The title of that bill, Eliminating DEI in Public Education. The bill's sponsors say the idea is to remove divisive concepts from North Carolina classrooms. Not that educators would be precluded from teaching that hard history about slavery and Jim Crow, as long as their teaching is impartial, just sticking with the facts, and not trying to make white kids feel bad for the bad stuff white folks did back in the day. Albeit the question becomes, who's the arbiter of that impartiality? I spoke with State Senator Natalie Murdoch about that. She explained that we could end up with teaching that looks different from county to county, school system to school system, depending on the arbiters of the impartiality. Who decides what's impartial, you see? Which is what makes Dare County so intriguing with its demographic makeup. So I had to come here because while the whole motif about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas might work for Nevada, in North Carolina, what happens in Raleigh impacts the whole state. So with all due respect to Durham, Greensboro, Raleigh, Charlotte, where lots of black people have lots of black children in public schools, my inquiring mind wanted to know what the potential passage of Senate Bill 227 will look like somewhere like Manteo. Now, to help you understand that the census numbers are accurate about this place, when I stopped by the local YMCA down here, I popped inside this basketball gym where everybody playing ball was white, except one guy who looked like he was mixed. So my data was on point. Now to get down to the reason for my visit, DEI in Dare County. And for that, I sat down with Dare County residents Sabrina Montague and Marquita Govan, who needed some education on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And no hate on them for not being familiar with the terminology or knowing that DEI is the acronym for creating that level playing field for people, regardless of skin color or gender or learning style, physical limitations, what have you. And look, definitely no hate on the racial piece, because when 87% of the population is white, diversity is not necessarily top of mind. Is DEI needed here to make this a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive place?
Yes, because a lot of things they decide to spend money on for the community or build or feel like we need here, we don't have a voice in that. We're not there to put in what we feel like we are needed. We're just told, here, we're going to give you this. We're going to give you another rental house. We're going to give you another event place, but it's not
necessarily benefiting us.
Yeah.
Do we need a focus on DEI?
So I don't think it's necessarily no, I'm not. I don't think it's just a race thing. I think it's a demographic thing. And like I said, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. I've worked my whole life, and it's hard to just maintain what I've got number one. Number two, like I said, demographics, race is definitely an issue too. I won't take that from anybody, but also male, female. I do believe, you know, a man's got a better chance. That might not just be our county. You know, I feel like it's an issue. But yeah, I grew up poor, so when I say poor, we didn't have, we had a big family. I didn't have a lot of money, and my family is living the same exact way we were when we were growing up. And there's been improvements over years, but it's just hard to get ahead. Or, I mean, just maintain it, and everything keeps going up.
Should, you know, take you two out of it. I'm looking at y'all as representing Dare
Right.
County. Should DEI matter in Dare County? And I say, should it matter, because if you ain't got a lot of black people, then maybe there's no need for a focus on trying to make things more diverse, because it just, the numbers, it ain't gonna happen.
Guys, I'm going to disagree with that, because once again, we're talking a lot about race, but I'm going to bring it back to diverse in other aspects. Like I said, we've got a rich county, but it is. Have you ever watched the show The Outer Banks? With the kids show, it's like a new 90210. It's really popular, but at the beginning of when the theme song comes on and they're talking about it, the Outer Banks is the kind of place where you either have you own 2 beach homes, or you have 2 jobs. And that's true. There's not much in between. So we can diversify this county by including not just more race, you know, but sex, and some of the people that aren't, you know, big homeowners. You know, I think a demographic problem is also here.
And Ms. Sabrina, you're right. I'm going to come to you. You're right. You know, it's not just race. It can be people with disabilities, gender differences. So you're right. It's not just race.
Right.
And I agree with Sabrina. It is more than just race, but I do feel like race plays a big part. Even in the movie Outer Banks, with the way they were separated, even with the you know, the rich side, you didn't see a lot of black people on that side. You seen the black people on the poor side. That was one of the 2 of the main characters on the poor side were black, but then on the rich side it really wasn't. Like here, I feel like race became more of a bigger thing now with the whole Trump thing. Used to, we didn't have too much going on, and I say that because growing up, I mean, I didn't see a lot of. I mean, I hung with whoever. I didn't have a lot of issues with race, but in the past week, I've had 2 issues with my kid with being called out of his name and racial issues. I've had more with them than I ever really had growing up.
One of the things Marquita ended up getting into is how it's not necessarily all good that she did not get a lot of racial grief growing up, and that her children, until recently, haven't experienced all that much of it either. The bad part is her kids are, and this is her term, her kids are whitewashed because they're not around a lot of black kids. I heard similarly from another Dare County resident who said 2 of her loved ones left Dare County and went to college at historically black North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro. And they were blown away by being around such a concentration of black people, which would support the need for more of an emphasis on diverse concepts in Dare County schools for black students, white students, Latino students, all students, because, you know, definitely some of those kids are going to leave Dare County someday, and then what? Yet Senate Bill 227 says this diversity talk is just not needed in the schools. Marquita and Sabrina were unfamiliar with the proposed legislation, so I let them take a look at the language introduced in Raleigh to help them understand how it would impact them here in Dare County, and how their senator, Bobby Hannick, is one of the sponsors of the bill.
Like eventually, after all the years, it'll get drained out, and people won't really. Nobody will be here to tell the real truth, because if people don't learn it how we learned it, then later on when all of us are gone, they can steer it how they want to steer it, I guess, pretty much type thing. And that's what I get when I think about when people say eliminate it or not having it in the schools or not or trying to control how they teach it. Is the idea is to later be able to control the narrative.
You know, the thing with diversity, equity, and inclusion is it is baked into so much.
It is so important because people need to see something that they can be. My name is Marcel Denise Morris, but I go by Nisi. We're sitting in Mia's Bake Shop and Tea Room located in historic downtown Manio,
Where she says she is the only Black business owner in downtown Manio.
DEI doesn't need to just be a certain amount of people. It should be an equal opportunity for everybody. Anybody who wants to get out there and take a chance on something, a chance on their dream, on a goal that they've set. So DEI is so important because I never would have thought that I would be in downtown Manio. There was nobody down here that looked like me that I could look up to. So I hope I am that person for somebody else and can help them accomplish their goals and bring their dream forefront.
Listen, there is so much more to Nisi's story. We need to revisit that at some point. And certainly Sabrina and Marquita had a whole lot more to offer about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But look, you only have so much time, so we'll put a pin in it for now. I did let them know Senate Bill 227 has not become law, so they still can reach out to their elected officials in the House of Representatives, Edward Goodwin and Keith Kidwell, and let them know how they feel about the idea of eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion in public education. And look, you can do the same with your elected officials when you go online to ncleg.gov/find your legislators. Go there and find your legislators and let them know how it needs to go down. Meantime, keep in mind that a government of, by, and for the people has to get closer to the people.